Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Ripley, and this is Dave's Daily Opinion. Today is November 3rd, 2009, and you logged on to asipicks.com. Thanks for logging on. I'm going to be as quick as possible, and I had a whole thing here I was going to talk about, but I'm just going to do this freestyle. That's how I roll. Freestyle. Listen, Brandon Spikes, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're a scumbag. I mean, anybody that does that, anybody that does something like that on the field, sticking your hand in somebody's helmet, trying to poke their eyeballs out. I mean, Mike Golic said it best. What are you, an animal? Animals do that kind of stuff. And look, I know it's a violent sport. I know you're trained to rip somebody's head off, but you're not trained to stick your fingers in somebody's eyeballs and try to rip their eyeballs out. Okay? It's totally unexcusable. You should be ashamed of yourself. Urban Meyer, you should even be more ashamed. Suspending him for a half a game during the Vanderbilt game? Not even a whole game during Vanderbilt. A half a game during Vanderbilt. And you think you're doing something good here? You're not doing anything good. What you're doing, Urban Meyer, is condoling his actions. That's what you're doing. You're telling him, hey, that's fine. You can my Florida football team can do whatever the hell they want. We're number one in the country. We can poke people's eyeballs out. We're allowed to bring baseball bats out on the field and start smacking people with them. We're allowed to come out there with a Louisville Slugger and just hit whoever we want to hit. We're number one in the country. I'm Urban Meyer. I'm Brandon Spikes. I'm Tim Tebow. The country loves us. Florida loves us. Florida Gators love us. No, wrong. There's certain things people do, sports figures, certain things sports figures do that will reflect people's opinion of them for the rest of their life. Brandon Spikes, this is that one thing that's going to reflect people's opinion of you, and it's not good. I mean, I've got 1,000 writers right now, Mike Golic, Dan Patrick, you name it, have just come out and said what you did was shameful. You should be ashamed of yourself. Now, there's a difference. Okay, fine. Take responsibility for it. Look, it's something I didn't do. Emotions went crazy. I don't know why I did it. I should be punished. So, the coach is punishing me for a half a game against Vanderbilt. That's enough punishment. I'm going to learn my lesson. What are you, a freaking idiot? I mean, really, Urban Meyer, you should be ashamed. Urban Meyer should be ashamed of himself more than Brandon Spikes. He contributed to the whole problem, and I'm not going to get into it. For example, real quick, LeGarrette Blount knocked out Hope at the end of the Boise State game, punched him, boom, just knocked him out. Hope ran his mouth, they said something, emotions run wild. What's Chip Kelly do? He says, I didn't like Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly suspended him for the whole year. I thought that was admirable. He suspended Blount for the whole year. I thought it was admirable, and I think he's even... Chip Kelly's rate's way up here on my list of coaches. I think what he's done with the Oregon Ducks, I think he's done with that team, pulling them together. I think what he did with LeGarrette, letting him practice, letting him continue to be a part of the football team, and allowing him to come back possibly this weekend against Stanford, I thought it was admirable. That's punishment. That's punishment. It's punishment being able to go to practice and watch players and watch your friends and watch your players bleed and sweat, knowing that you're not going to play that game on Saturday. That's punishment. It's punishment saying, okay, LeGarrette, I tell you what, if you get together and you can control your emotions and you take responsibility, we're going to let you play at the end of the year. That's punishment, okay? That's punishment. Kudos to Chip Kelly and kudos to LeGarrette. There's been no more problems. He took his punishment like a man. He didn't transfer to some other school. He took his punishment, and that's that. So kudos to the whole Oregon organization. The Florida organization, the Florida Gators, absolutely ludicrous. I can't believe that the president or somebody didn't step in and say, look, no, there's got to be a bigger suspension. There's got to be something. This is a 2, 3, possibly the whole end of the year game suspension. I mean, granted, he probably wasn't hurt, but the intent to try to poke somebody's eyeballs out is absolutely ludicrous. It's absolutely crazy. I've never seen it before. Look, I've seen, hockey players, college hockey players, they get in fist fights or whatever. I've even seen college baseball games where somebody's got hit with a pitch and charged them out, and emotions run wild and things go crazy, and sometimes it's a violent sport, and you're going and your emotions are through the roof, your blood pressure's through the roof, and you do things sometimes that you usually wouldn't do. I understand that. Everybody understands that because we've all been there, okay? But there's a line. There's a fine line. Sticking your hands in somebody's helmet to try to permanently maim them, poke their eyeballs out, or hurt them in some kind of way, Absolutely unacceptable. Brandon Spikes, you should be ashamed of yourself. Urban Meyer, you should even be more ashamed of yourself with a silly, ridiculous, stupid half-game suspension against Vanderbilt. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to email this to the athletic department at UF, and I hope he sees this. I hope he sees this, because this isn't just my opinion. I think this is a lot of people's opinion, unless you're a Florida Gators fan. Ooh, the Gators, the Gators, the Gators, the Gators. Give me a break. Listen, there's no team that is above another team when it comes to personal responsibility. I'm sorry, there's not. Personal responsibility is personal responsibility. I don't care if it was Penn State, I don't care if it was Wisconsin, I don't care if it was Oregon, I don't care if it's Florida. There's responsibility. You have to take responsibility for your actions on the field. You're adults! You're adults! And giving him a half-game suspension is absolutely ludicrous. Brandon Spikes thinks he can just get away with anything now. I can guarantee you that. I hope it all comes down to where he gets a little more suspension, and really he's done it to himself. I mean, Mike Golic said it best. Look, his opinion of him, a lot of sports writers' opinion of Brandon Spikes, and thousands and thousands of fans even, their opinions of Brandon Spikes have just diminished. And congratulations, Brandon. Good job, moron. All right, I'm going to let you go. Today is the 3rd. Thanks for logging on for my daily opinion. I have 2 more video segments. I've got my free daily pick today, and I've got my picks on the board. So I'm going to let you know who I'm picking: NBA, NHL, and 1 college football game tonight. So log on to my other video segments, and thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow.